Good morning. What do you need? Okay. So, my talk for today is titled Keepin It Real. I'm not mispronouncing it, I just didn't put the G on the end. Through thoughts, words, and actions, we live the truth we know. Who knows what that is? Come on. Principle 5? Okay. Road of truth, the straight and narrow path along which Spirit directs and which proves so smooth and safe that one refuses to allow oneself to be misled by habit into trusting sense perception. Source of truth, God, is special, personal Father to all his children, and from no other source can they get absolute truth. Spirit of truth, God's thought projecting into our mind ideas that will build spiritual consciousness like that of Jesus. The Spirit of truth watches every detail of our life. When we ask and by affirmation proclaim its presence, it brings life into both mind and body and moves us to observe spiritual and physical laws that restore health. And that is from Charles Fillmore's The Revealing Word. And here's my writing on it. Keeping it real. Through thoughts, words, and actions, we live the truth we know. Unity Principle 5. Easy enough. We just live the truth we know. How hard could that be? I know the truth. There are only two emotions, love and fear. Whatever is not love is fear. That is really quite simple. I know when I operate from love, I feel a calmness, a peace, a connection to all life. I know when I am in harmony with Spirit, I can deal with the peaks and valleys of life. I guess what I am saying is talking the talk is a bit easier than walking the walk. Keeping it real is a lot more complex than it seems. As Emerson says, my favorite quote, "Who you are speaks so loudly, I cannot hear a word you're saying." So what happens, we grow up as kids and we're told, usually from our parents, always tell the truth. So think about this. Think about life. Think, how many of you like to watch legal shows? Lawyers and the trials and all that. I love to watch that. So you listen to two witnesses tell you what they saw. And most of the time, they didn't see the same thing. And I'll give you an example that happened to me and a friend. We have been in the art business for many, many years. I could go in the back room and mix any color someone wanted. I mean, I know color like whatever. And I was walking in the park one day with my friend, who's an interior designer who knows color fantastically. And all of a sudden, we saw a snake slither across our path. And we both screamed and jumped back. And another woman was coming toward us. And simultaneously, we said, "Watch out, there's a green snake," and one of us said a brown snake. We saw the same snake, and we both know colors. Which was the truth? I really don't know. I guess we would need to see it again together to really know. But that's how we operate, people. We operate by these 5 senses: what we hear, what we see, what we smell, what we taste, what we touch. How many times have you been riding down a street and you see something in the middle of the street? And you go, "Oh my God, it's a dead animal." And you get up closer, it's a paper bag, right? Or you're walking through the grocery store and you see someone and you go, "Oh, that's so-and-so." But you get closer, and it isn't. See, our perceptions are not reality. In Unity, religious science, divine science, they all had the same teacher, Emma Curtis Hopkins. And in her book, High Mysticism, have any of you ever read it? You probably have it in your library somewhere. But I remember when I first started studying all this stuff, and she was talking and going, well, the tree isn't really there. Well, what do you mean it isn't there? I see it in my yard. I see the leaves dropping. I see the leaves blowing in the wind. Of course the tree is there. I can feel it. I can touch it. So how could that be an illusion? And then they start to explain, which even made it more complicated, that it's the collective consciousness of all the people that see that looks like water coming out of that fountain. Well, I don't even understand the principles. I mean, I don't even understand the truth of electricity. I just know if I press that button off, the sound goes off. Or if I pull my hairdryer out of the plug, it doesn't go on. But I don't really understand how I can send an email or a text from my phone to my friend who's over in Scotland right now when we get a message back in 2 seconds. I mean, you can talk to me about these waves, but I can't see these waves. How many of you see the waves for electricity? How do you see the waves going through this world? So then I began to go, oh my God, there is so much stuff here that I have no clue about. And that's one of the things that drives me crazy. I am one of these people. I want to understand the mystery of life. And guess what? I'm not going to get to. Not in this body. Maybe when we leave and go to that different place, we will get it. How many of you understand this mystery of life? We come, we go. I remember as a little child looking at all the people and thinking, well, they're all going to be dead one day. And then it's all going to be new people. And then it's going to be recycled again. And they're going to be gone, and on and on and on. And then I began to think as I got older, well, if I recycle a milk carton, well, why wouldn't we be recycled? I mean, look at all that we learn as we come through this trip. And there are so many mysteries. So what does it mean to keep it real? Maybe part of it is looking at yourself, but not just going into the mirror and looking at yourself and going, oh, okay, my clothes look fine, my makeup's fine for the men, my shirt's fine, I did a nice shave this morning. Not that. But going deep inside and asking yourself, who am I? What am I? Why am I here? Why are you here on this planet at this very moment? And I believe that we all have a purpose here, that each and every one of us has something that we are to do in this world, in this time, right now, right here and right now. And we do have free will. We have two choices. We can follow God's law or man's law. In fact, I know I've used it here where I say you will never find a U-Haul behind a hearse. And then I heard a country song about you'll never find a truck with a trailer on the back following a hearse. It's a whole country song. What's the name of it, John? Do you know? It's a really cool song. My son sent it to me, and it's really, really a cool song. And I thought, isn't that true? Because we spend, I spend a lot of time on it. What am I going to wear? What new gadget can I get? What is it I would like to do? Where would I like to go eat? And many of us get so consumed with the stuff in this world that we forget where our truth comes from. That our joy doesn't come from a new dress or a new trip or a new whatever. Our joy comes from that moment when we connect with our true spirit. When I open my mouth and I know that it is God's word coming through me, which we all have. It's like people say to me, oh, I wish I could get up and speak without notes. I go, anybody can. There's only one trick, and that is to get yourself out of the way and to trust. And you know what? This is the place I first did it. I need to share it with you. That was when Sue was like the administrator years and years ago. We're talking probably 25 years ago. And I had just started to speak. And I loved Michael Beckwith from Agape in California, and I went all the time because our son lived out there. And by the way, in that song, it said where rent is cheap. It was never cheap in LA. I don't know where that came from. We have to correct Neil Diamond because that was not correct. That was not the truth. So when I used to go watch Michael Beckwith, he would speak from a lucite podium, and he never used notes. And I said, God, if you let me do this, I don't want to use notes. I don't want to write a speech on Saturday for Sunday because I'm not the same person Sunday that I was Saturday because we change, we evolve. And it was here. This was one of my first speaking engagements, and I will never forget it. I am laying in bed Saturday night because all I had prepared was like I do, and I'm going, oh my God, have I lost my mind? And this room was filled, and I just went, okay, God, I'm here, let your words flow through me, and then that was it. I did it. But I was scared because I trusted, and then I let go of that trust, and then I let it come back. So when I say keeping it real, what do I really mean? I don't know if any of you go to a 12-step program. I am a grateful member of Al-Anon. I love the 12-step program. There was even a book, 12 Steps for Everyone, because those 12 steps are what brought me to the Unity Church. When I stopped going to Al-Anon, a lot of the people from the 12 steps end up in New Thought churches, by the way, a big portion. And yes, and I am not ashamed of it. I am proud to be a member. I am so proud that that program is there because it sure helped save my life and helped me get through tough times. And almost every one of those people was at our son's funeral. And they are my friends and family, and I am so grateful for it. And what I notice is there's so many times, and for those of you who go, you'll see, there are people who go for many years and never say a word. And I'm challenging every one of you who is sitting out in this chair. Open your mouth. Speak your truth. Stir up the pot. Because nothing gets done in this world. Nothing is real. Oh, John, how are you today? Oh, I'm fine. Really, he's not. His house was just blown. I don't even want to put that into consciousness. There was a hurricane that passed right over his house. But what do we do? You know, how are you? Oh, I'm fine. But you're really not fine. What would be wrong with saying, you know, I have some things on my mind today? You know, or since our son passed away, people ask me, how am I? I go, I'm okay. And it's okay to be okay, because where I was a year ago was not okay. So okay is a huge step. And I'm not going to lie and say everything's just like it used to be. No, it never will be, because things change minute by minute. We evolve, we grow, we see. And I was just telling Paul back there before he said something to me and then I answered. I said, you know, I think I've kind of figured out my place on this planet, because I've had people get angry with me in congregations. One example was, I said, you know why Hitler happened? And they all went, no. And I said, because we let them. We deserved him. Oh my God. And it was a Unity church. They were appalled. I go, hold on. Let me tell you why. And you can read about this. It's the truth. It's not because there are so many bad people in the world. It's because the good people don't do anything. They don't speak out. They don't say, this is not okay. But there was a country, it was one of the Scandinavian countries, that hid, which one was it? Do you know? Denmark. And they hid all the Jews. They protected them, and they hardly lost one. And Hitler came there too. But see, if we don't speak out, if we go to a group and there's a discussion, maybe it's here, maybe it's a board meeting, and you're trying to figure out something, and you have a thought, but you go, no, I'm not going to say it. It might make someone angry. How many times have we done that? I'm not going to say that. It might make someone angry. Well, I've made people angry. But you know what? That's okay. Because what I've come to know is that their anger has nothing to do with me. I insulted another guy in Unity in a different place because the title of my talk was Your Thoughts Mean Nothing, which is a direct lesson from A Course in Miracles. It is the title of that lesson. And he went up and told someone else, she really insulted me. She told me that my thoughts meant nothing. So how do we get real in an unreal world? That is the question. And I'm not saying go in the middle of a cult that you see that's burning a witch at a stake and tell them that you think that's wrong because you'll probably be standing right next to that witch and you'll be burning too. We do need to learn when to hold them and when to fold them and when to walk away and sometimes run. We have to use discretion. But we have to be willing to step out of our comfort zone. And if you know something is truth, and I'm not talking about science, because science too, thank goodness, I mean, I'm really glad that when I'm sick, they don't cut me open and bleed me, let me bleed out like they did to that poor president that died, that wouldn't listen to the other doctor. Who was it, Steve? The one, who? Okay, and they bled him out, and they wouldn't listen to the other doctor, and the guy died. Well, aren't you kind of glad science has changed a little from that? Or that they can use orthoscopic surgery instead of just ripping you open. So, I mean, thank goodness things change and evolve. And that means you too. And I'm not saying just get in an argument with everyone. But, my son has a really neat way of saying it, and I'm going to start doing more of this. When someone says something that you feel is totally illogical, rather than even saying a fact to them, he just simply says, well, how did you come to that conclusion? And let them tell you. Oh, well, could you tell me more? And eventually, sometimes, they may see it on their own, or they may not. But you're not antagonizing, you're just seeking what happened. So my challenge to you is how can you be more real? And part of it is not fun because we have to look at our own selves. Because there's a piece to this that I didn't like. You will never see anything in someone else that you don't possess. So I can look at Dee and so, she is so judgmental. Now, what does that make me? I mean, we don't think about that. But that's exactly what it does. When I label someone, I am labeling myself. So it's hard work. But the cool thing is, the more you do it, you catch yourself doing it. And then you can then if you're not into your ego, you can laugh at yourself. So let's work on keeping it real, because that's the only way that we can do our Gandhi thing and make the world the place that we want to see. We can do that. At least we can do it in our own communities, our own families, our own neighborhoods. Oh, and by the way, I've been writing like on my little neighborhood thing. Like, do you have like Neighborhood Springfield or whatever? So I've been writing on my little thing, and I've been writing like unity messages. And that I talk to people, I counsel, etc. I've had 2 people reach out to me that I was able to help. And a lot of them, I think it got like 2,800 clicks or whatever, that people are reading it. And so I decided at least once a week, I'm going to post a positive message. And they can do with it, take what they like and leave the rest. But at least I'm doing my part. And that's what I'm challenging you to do. Just do your part. That's all you need to do. Keeping it real. What do my thoughts, words, and actions say about me? They are what the world does see. If I know the truth, the power of word, what comes out of my mouth is heard by all. My words are real, a really big deal. They create my reality, my view of life. My words and actions really do matter. And of course, every thought charts out the course of life. I ought to know that by now, and sometimes I do. How I get off course, I do not know. Sometimes it just happens. I go into the deep, egoistic abyss. Somehow I simply seem to dismiss my truth, my connection to Spirit Divine, oblivious to being off the path, feeling fine for the moment. And then it hits. Nothing is right. Nothing fits. I feel out of sorts, like a hot mess. It is so uncomfortable, I have to confess. To myself, I am being misled. I need to stop using my head and begin to feel with my heart. Knowing I have a part to play on this journey through life, staying on the path lessens the strife. I simply need to let go and let Spirit direct. Lay back, relax, just simply reflect. On this one little snippet, this moment in time, remembering we are responsible for living the truth we know wherever we are, wherever we go. Thank you. And now, thank you. And now we are just, do you want to play some pretty music for me, John? Because I didn't knock your house down. You're welcome. So let us just take a moment to relax and take a breath and be grateful for the comfortable chair upon which you are sitting and those legs that brought you in, that could walk so freely from the parking lot into the building, and for all that you have, but most importantly, for all that you are. Because the truth is, you are divine. You are God in action. A little tiny godlet that moves through this world with a light. And you can let that light shine bright as the sun, or dim it to where you can hardly see it, because it's all up to you. So take a moment to reflect on the patterns in your own life. How do you see the world? How do you see the souls that you are living with? Are they kind and loving and joyful? Or do you see a different picture? How do you know God, the God of your understanding? Do you trust God with every part of your life? Or perhaps just when you need a favor? Think about what it would take to be more real, to speak your word for all to hear, to speak your word for you to hear, so that you can simply know the truth of who you are, why you are, and why you are here on this planet in this very moment. Think about all the, quote, coincidences in your life, those really strange things that occurred, occurrences that seem not just normal, but as though they were God-inspired. And then no, they were. Because we can let that divine spirit move through us, as us, is us. And that is what makes us perfect, whole, and complete, exactly as we are. Feel the love surrounding you. Feel the warmth and the joy and the peace that comes from living in the land of our Creator, part of the soul of our Creator, and the soul of all humanity. And now I ask that you begin to become aware of your body and your breath, the beautiful music in the background, and begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Perhaps roll your head from the right to the left. And when you are ready, gently open your eyes and focus on something you did not notice before.